You are watching Steelers Talk by Chat Sports. I am your host, Jack Sperry, and the Pittsburgh Steelers have reported to training camp in Latrobe, and we've got the latest news and rumors surrounding your Pittsburgh Steelers today. First up, players report to Latrobe today. I'm going to be breaking down some quotes from both Russell Wilson and Naji Harris that I find extremely interesting. Then we'll get into a report that the Steelers are extremely close to an extension with tight end Pat Freiermuth, and we'll finish up the day with the latest on Brandon Aiyuk. Apparently, a trade could still potentially happen, so we'll break down the latest on Aiyuk at the end of today's show, so make sure you guys stick around. But before we get into today's news and rumors, we're going to have extensive Steelers training camp coverage, daily practice takeaways, all this different stuff, the latest rumors and news from Latrobe. So hit that subscribe button right now. I greatly appreciate all of your support. And with that, let's get into our first rumor of the day here, our first thing to cover. And it's finally here, guys. Training camp is finally back for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Their first practice is later this week. The players reported today. And Russell Wilson ended up talking with the media today, and he said some very interesting things about his expectations heading into his 13th year in the National Football League. This is what Russ had to say. Our mission is to win it all, to win the Super Bowl, but we've got to do the work necessary. It doesn't just happen overnight. That's in our control, talking about the work. Internally, your expectations for yourself have to be higher than everyone else's. I remember when I was a rookie, I was a third-round pick, the 75th pick overall. I was the third-string quarterback on the roster. I was determined I was going to take that job. That's got to be the mentality every single day. That's the mentality every day. Try to be your best. God has given me a ton of talent. Anyone that's here staying in those dorms, talking about in Latrobe, has a ton of talent. How do we make the most of that? You do it with great confidence and composure and on edge when you play. And then when talking about the offense here specifically and adjusting to Arthur Smith's system, he says it's always about trying to understand the offense in its full capacity, not just me, but everybody, and what we're trying to accomplish. We definitely have that. Arthur Smith has done a great job of making sure that we have that. So listen, man, Russ is saying all the right things, as he usually does, right? He's really good with the media. He knows the right thing to say when cameras and microphones are in front of him. He's been doing this for the last 13 years, for Christ's sake. So this is definitely somebody that knows what he's doing when it comes to saying the right things and, saying that our goal is to win the Super Bowl, but we have to do the work and all this great stuff. I certainly think that Russell Wilson is a great ambassador for this franchise. That, of course, is a blue blood franchise in the National Football League, and I am hoping that he can have a bounce-back season this year. Now, make sure you guys click that thumbs-up icon right now and like today's video. If you are excited to see Russ play in Latrobe this year, and then during maybe some of the preseason games, and then definitely during the NFL season, I know I'm pumped up for this year, mainly because of Russell Wilson, so let me know down there in the comment section. If you're excited, make sure you click that thumbs-up icon. So also, Naji Harris discussed his entire situation this offseason with the media. He hasn't talked with the media since the Steelers declined his fifth-year option, and today he was in a media scrum, and he had this to say about it. And he pretty much said, I was disappointed, but at the end of the day, he needs to focus on what he needs to focus on. He can control what he can control. And apparently the Steelers told him that they don't know where the offense is headed, which is why they didn't want to give him that fifth-year option, and they ended up declining it this offseason. This is what Najee had to say in Latrobe today. I was disappointed for a minute, but it's nothing really where me sitting around being disappointed for too long would do anything to help me out. I think it is what it is, and you've got to keep it pushing. I like it here in Pittsburgh. I like Coach T, Mr. Rooney, Omar. It's a good city. Obviously, the people here are nice and are welcoming, but it's a business. So I think that Najee's approaching this the right way. He certainly wants to be a Pittsburgh Steeler for the long haul, but my prediction is this will be his final season here with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think Jaylen Warren is probably going to explode onto the scene this year. I think Jaylen will really establish himself as the number one back in that backfield this year. And, even if Najee plays well, I think that they're not going to want to pay two of these guys big contracts, and they'll probably let Harris go next offseason. I could be wrong. If Harris establishes himself as a true star running back in this league, perhaps they pay him instead of Jaylen Warren. But for the time being, based on what I think is going to happen here, I think they'll pick Jaylen Warren over Naji Harris, and I guess we'll see how it all plays out this year. Now, predict it for me down there in the comments section. Will this be Naji Harris's last year with the Pittsburgh Steelers? Give me a yes or a no. This will be the pinned comment on today's show. So in just a second here, I'm going to tell you about our friends at GameTime. But before I do that, make sure you guys go down there in the comments section and give me a yes or a no. And with that, let's have a word from our sponsor here at GameTime, which is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater in your area. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat right in the app, and their lowest price guarantee, GameTime takes the guesswork out of buying tickets to whatever event you choose. Cassie and I, we're going to be going to Pittsburgh here at the start of August to watch Steelers training camp and also to watch a couple of Pirates games. We got our tickets on GameTime, lowest price guarantee, super easy to use. It's the only ticketing app that I have on my phone. And what I love about GameTime is that you get the lowest price guarantee on any ticket to any event. All-in pricing so you don't get slapped with crazy fees at checkout and flash deals so I can get even cheaper tickets the closer I wait to the event. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets today with GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS. That's one word, all caps, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS. That's one word, all caps, CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download GameTime today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. So now let's shift over to Pat Freiermuth here, where Andrew Filipponi reports that the Steelers are close to an extension with the tight end out of Penn State. And honestly, man, I kind of like this idea, and I've been saying if I'm going to extend one person on the Steelers roster right now, it would probably be Pat Freiermuth. This is what Pony had to say on his X account earlier today. I keep hearing that a Pat Freiermuth extension could be done by the end of the week. Both sides want to make a deal. Feels like, I don't even know what he was trying to say there at the end, but I do think that a deal will probably get done between Muth and the Pittsburgh Steelers, especially because, they need to spend more money on offense, right? They're number one in the league in defensive spending, dead last in offensive spending. Muth is a really good player, I think, especially because it's being reported that he has a great connection with Russell Wilson, that he should be getting paid. Now, you take a look at the highest paid tight ends in football right now per year. I'm not sure if he's going to get to the Travis Kelce range of over $17 million per year, but could I certainly see him get 16.5 like TJ Hawkinson or George Kittle? Absolutely. I think that he could get into that conversation. I think based on the reports on Muth during this offseason is that he's looking like one of the best receiving tight ends in football, and I'm guessing if a deal is made between both Muth's representation and the Pittsburgh Steelers front office, it'll probably be for at least $15 million per year. And I do think that he'd be worth that contract. I think that when you hear everything that you're hearing about Russell Wilson's connection with this guy, his big role in the Steelers offense this year, apparently he's going to be playing a little bit of slot receiver as well. He's kind of like a bigger slot guy. I'm really excited to see what Arthur Smith has up his sleeve when it comes to Pat Freiermuth, and I would love the Pittsburgh Steelers to get an extension done before the start of the season. Now, yesterday here, Brandon Aiyuk reported to 49ers training camp, and a lot of Steelers fans were like, well, that's it, man. Let's pack it up. You're not going to get Brandon Aiyuk. And, I will say at this point that it's pretty unlikely that the Pittsburgh Steelers land Aiyuk in a trade. Okay, but the latest on Aiyuk is that he did not practice today. He is holding in, which pretty much means he's not practicing until he gets a new contract from the San Francisco 49ers. He is attending meetings and all that stuff, but he's just not on the practice field risking injury, so that's where it's at. Now, a little bit of a disclaimer here. I don't think the Pittsburgh Steelers will trade for Brandon Aiyuk, all right? I don't think that's going to happen. I'd put the chances of it pretty darn low. However, I do think that it's still a possibility, all right? Aiyuk's trade request is still live and well. He has not said, I rescind my trade request. So that's still on the table. He's not practicing. The 49ers have not changed their minds about giving him the money that he wants, which is $30 million per year. And San Francisco 49er general manager John Lynch said yesterday that there is no absolute to Brandon Aiyuk making the team this year, meaning that he could potentially get traded if the price is right. Now, the only question is, are the Steelers willing to come to the table and pay the price that San Francisco is demanding? At this point, I would say it's pretty doubtful. But let me know down there in the comments section, what is the percent chance that Brandon Aiyuk is a Steeler this year? Put it on a scale of 0 to 100 for me down there in the comments section. Let me know what you guys are thinking. All right, my answer to this is it's a 5. I give it a 5% shot. And I think that's pretty generous at this point. I mean, Aiyuk has said he wants to be a Niner This is an organization that gets these extensions done late in the offseason, all right? All the things that will have to happen for Aiyuk to become a Steeler. Don't get me wrong, I will jump for joy, and we'll be going live here on Steelers Talk for 11 straight hours if Omar Khan can pull it off. But if you're asking me the chances that Omar can actually do it, I'd put it at only a 5% shot. Now, before I go here, I do have some shout-outs. I said on yesterday's show that if you gave me a follow on my new TikTok account, that I would give you a shout-out right here on Steelers Talk. So here's today's shout-outs. Big shout-out to the Fish King, Keenan, WWE, Pickens Prods, Larry, D, Nation, William, Joshua, Glocked Up, Glizzy, NJ, Andrew, Locksta, Wow Vids, the Unfadables? I don't know how to say that. DJ, Lele70, Eugene, PJ, Big, Wayne, Jim, Caleb, Tyler, John, DJ, KJ, Landon, Voltic, William, Mike, Sam, Austin, Dawson, Matt, Big Church, Meanie Man, Bobby, and then, of course, if you want to go follow me on my new TikTok account, you can find me at sparedog.football. Really do appreciate your guys' support. If you want to follow me on my other social media, I'm at Jack_Sperry on X, and once again, at sparedog.football on Instagram. That'll be it for today's News and Rumors edition of Steelers Talk. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. And until then, here we go, Steelers.